Welcome back. Tyler Talks. Just did one yesterday, Roots preview part one. Got a little breather in my day. Days have been long and stressful, so these are nice to take a break and do something fun. So I wanted to show a somewhat competitive, not super high level, but I do think this is very fun to play. Bobby posted in Discord where he had Lost Souls out, as in this card, Lost Souls, and his opponent had Lost Souls out, and he said there was 26 Lost Souls on the table, um, which makes Caden very mad. But this was anyway. Him and the opponent both had this Lost Souls out, and it was just like Old Testament Lost Souls are coming down, and tokens are flying everywhere, and he was like, I really wish I had Thankful Leper, because he could look at the top X, and that's Lost Souls, so he can just look at like half your deck and take a card. Um, or I can just look at half of your deck and reserve a card, an evil card. So I thought that's pretty cool. I think gold is, overly a little slow. Luckily, thieves are fast. Um, Roots gave some New Testament Crimson toys, and uh, like Moths is good. Nebi's Pride, of course, that's not New Testament, but I'm just saying it's a good Crimson card. So injected a little speed here, and then I can just pretty much take whatever I want with Thankful Leper. And I like having a Jairus band. So you'll see some fun interactions. I like gold with nativity. I like taking the best of certain aspects or certain aspects of offenses or the best parts of them and putting them together with others. I think that's when you really start having fun in deck building. So I focused on white here, and then Lost Child Found is really good right now. It was always good, but there's more targets to Lost Child Found to hit, so it's even better. So yeah, we could have more consistency. Like it's nice when Citizens of Sychar, if you can get to him first turn, he can play Sychar, and then you can play Sychar as a site, and you can take a Samaritan, uh, and then Citizens of Sychar can band. So I can just kind of go right to my Thankful Leper and get a little bit of resources going. You'll see I have to play a Lost Soul from each deck, play a Lost Soul from a deck, play a Lost Soul from a deck. That's also helping with my nativity. So I do want to quickly go into a Lost Souls and get out like Blind, Accusers, Distressed, and not only am I generating tokens, but I'm putting you in a pretty tough spot if you're using NT Souls or Territory class stuff, or especially Old Testament humans. I'm really going to put you in a tough spot. Um, I At first I didn't have any access in my reserve for taking anything evil, and then I brought in Jerusalem, which can take anything. It's essentially storehouse with a cost. Um, so I can now have a couple evil cards in here that are New Testament, but I don't have that at the moment. So I think you'll see decks, and we had this conversation in Discord, where you will see decks. I say take a more balanced approach. I always say aggro will win, but a balanced approach meaning like I have 5 evil characters here, 5 evil enhancements, but I also have 3 more potential evil characters. And I would play a little bit more evil in the reserve. And you're also going to start seeing more support, like fortresses in general being used. I do think we are finally starting to see different dominance. I'm working on a buckler deck. I really like purple enhancements right now, so and it's nice because if you look at purple, I won't get too off tangent here. Off tangent. If you look at purple, it can just play purple. Like it's not really the enhancements aren't really broken down into themes just yet. So That's pretty cool. There's very few that require something else to be played on. So yeah, this deck's pretty fun. It's got some sneaky attacks, keeps the opponent on their toes. I always got a little bit of cheese in there. Zechariah, Zacchaeus preventing the next. I don't have nearly the add to battle that I want. It's just good seed. I don't have resurrection. I can falling away with Zacchaeus or just use falling away. You will notice rubble and dust. Um, that's going to be played, which is an awesome thing. John and Jay did very good in the tournament with their decks, so having rubble and dust to get out from under board states. They already said one way to hurt their decks was doing a choose the rescue for Eleazar, so if you can kind of hit their protection fort and bring in Eleazar, uh, they don't have too much to play, and it's just kind of coming down to they have like a royal parade, and then you have your enhancements. So just knowing how to get out from under things is always a good tool to have. So yeah, I'll do a quick run through on this. Whoops, that's blue go hard. You'll see that. And that's gold nativity gray. Look at me go. I don't have this ready. I pretty much took the same deck and I started on a gray version. So let's just new game it. So of course we're gonna get our stars. Play Lost Soul. I can look at the top 10. I don't really necessarily care. If I don't have Lost Souls out, I can play from yours, or I could go into my Lost Souls. I could go into my Distressed. Really depends on what you have. If I only have Ambushing Bandits and Pilfer, I'm probably gonna not want to play a Lost Soul from my deck. Even though I like getting Lost Souls, I don't like to block if I don't have to. If they drew into Covet or Hopper or Harvest or Lost Souls, then I could just play Lost Soul from my own deck if I want. So all depends. As of now, since I don't have any Lost Souls, I probably wouldn't play one. If they chose me to go first, if not, I probably would let them go first here, knowing that I could then draw and go from there. So we did get Citizens of Sychar, which is nice, but we already got Thankful Leper, and I could already play Good Seed. I could put down Stable. I could bring Covenant with David into this offense as well. Since I have so many targets for Covenant with David, it's really good when you have a bunch of targets, because if you get one early or too early, you're kind of out. But since I have Golgotha and Sychar and Stable and Jerusalem, Covenant with David probably should go in here. So at this point, I can go ahead and I can play Harvest Time for 8. I'll say 7. 7. Final answer. So what I would do is Lost Souls would be my first that this was just my search, and then put it in play, and then start activating. So I would get the 4 activations. I'd have all their stuff in play. Now, doing Harvest Time with Lost Souls actually is going to cut you short overall, because I get the limit 4. What I probably should have done was just taken 4. I think this is the right play. Right there is actually probably the right play. And I'm learning, because I would max out my 4 activations, I bring out your 4, and maybe I don't want you to have other Lost Souls. So that's probably actually the move. I'll shuffle that up to where I have the 4 that I want. I max out my 4 tokens, and I move on with life. And if opponent uses a good draw ability, I don't need to put Ambushing Bandits down. They're not going to use a good draw ability right now. And then I can go straight out to Citizens of Sychar. So the only thing, if you use Harvest Time and like max it out, then all right, sorry. My current work right now is letting my project manager know I can go to a party, our Christmas party next week. So, all right. So yeah, if you max out Harvest Time, the big benefit is Thankful Leper, as I would have 7 or maybe 8 because of Hopper, then 4 tokens, and then 7, maybe 8 on their end with Hopper if they're playing Hopper as well, which most decks at this point are playing Hopper. So I could have 20 Lost Souls out by turn 1 and look at the top 20 cards of my deck and take one. So I will go out with Citizens of Sychar, and I'm going to play Sychar from deck. And since I already have Thankful Leper in my hand, Watchful Servant is not a Samaritan, neither is Jairus. I am going to play it as a Fortress, and then I'm going to go right into Thankful Leper. I do want to say there is one card if you're looking at like tokens right now and you need to inject some speed. Like you can easily use High Places, and you can just constantly draw like just tokens and just everywhere. Between Lost Souls and Harvest, and they don't have NT or OT Unity, so you can use both together. You can use Majestic Heavens. You can do a lot to max out High Places. So I do get Jay's point and Caden's point about Lost Souls is enabling defenses that should not have access to Meek Souls, or their deck gets weaker using Meek Souls, because the whole point is if I play 7 of the best Lost Souls, then I miss out on those cards at, say, CBP or CBN if you have a Meek Lost Soul. Now I can play whatever defense I want and have Meek Lost Souls. So since I get to put it in a Land of Bondage, I could create a Meek Lost Soul, put it in my own Land of Bondage, and now I have CBP or CBN or different cards I can use. So I get the point. So yeah, where were we? You may look at the top X cards of a deck. Now, I don't really have a lot in my hand from a rescue perspective. So I could look at the top 4, 8, 12 cards at minimum, assuming they didn't draw any. It's only my Harvest Time. I could look at the top 12 and take, or I could look at the top 12 of theirs, more than likely reserve an Evil Dominant and get the draw 1. But I really don't want to lose the battle. I'm hoping to kind of snag like an Amazing Faith, and all of a sudden I would have an Amazing Faith to grab a Dominant and have Son of God's Second Coming. So I would go ahead and look at mine, but that's only because I don't have any enhancements in my hand that work, and there it is. What do you know? And I can take up to 1. Had I looked at their top 12 and reserved an evil card, I would have drawn into a Man with Withered Hand. So, and it's good to know, hey, what am I drawing into, right? So that's it for there. Unless they have like a scattered or just end of battle as a stalemate or something, I would be able to go into an Amazing Faith. And if I want Angel Lord, I can grab it. It's really nice to have a 3 woes as well early on. I do like shuffling my deck up and getting it out and ready for Thankful Leper next turn. Now I want to put down Ambushing Bandits to kind of stop that whole drawing thing. If I really wanted to, I could also Son of God Second Coming. And whenever I was picking my Lost Souls, since I knew I had Son of God Second Coming, I could have picked their Lost Souls that I wanted to get around and just immediately go into a Son of God Second Coming, especially if the ones are like if put in play, if drawn or put in play by an opponent. I could have just put them in play and then negated them. Sometimes you don't want to play that Son of God Second Coming because players will be like, oh, you have 4 cards in your hand. I have a huge advantage from a rescue perspective. But guess what? 6 cards ain't much of a bluff anyway. So if they attacked, I have 3 negates, and I get a draw 1. So really there's not too much I can do. I could attempt to underdeck them, and then I could attempt to negate their card and draw 1. If they were going to attack with a bunch of heroes, I would have just given them a Lost Soul, to be honest. If they attacked with a lone hero, I could block. That's about it. Then I look at a hand, go into my upkeep, and I have 2 upkeep triggers. Know your upkeep triggers. Know what they are, so you recognize them when you get them. You recognize them when you play them, so you don't forget them. If you forget to do your upkeep, which is what I see the most of, put a, like, I tend to carry around chapstick, right? Like if you carry around something normally or you're playing, put a physical something on your card. Or if you, like, sometimes I'll do or I'll move my card, like not diagonal, I'll just straight up turn it sideways, and it's almost like a magic where you're tapping, I give myself an indication that I have upkeep triggers. So until you're used to your upkeep triggers, give yourself ways to help. Okay, so I can get out a good nativity card and a good enhancement. A good nativity card and a good enhancement. There's obviously so much to choose from here. If I want to attack with gold, then I can take a good enhancement of Talitha Come. I could just go straight into a Teaching in Parables, which I would get a draw 1 off of. I could go into a Child is Born, which can also get me a nativity hero from reserve, which I like to do. I can grab Angel Appears and go into like a Gabriel and have a Gabriel band. So there's a lot here to take. Give yourself flexible options in your reserve. Don't just have like the best cards. Jay's really good at he'll say this a lot, where your attacks like if he's playing an opponent, for certain builds, your attacks are predictable. Don't make your reserve predictable as well. Give yourself, even though you got to show them what you're taking, give yourself options in the reserve. Justin and Jaden are really good about this too. Look at top players' reserves, and you'll see all sorts of stuff. This is not an example because I don't have a single evil card, but this is an example of I can grab all sorts of stuff for my offense. So it really depends on what you have down, is based on what I grab. Also, you have to know from an offense perspective, like what can I play? So I know I can get 2 cards, and I know I have Emmaus Road. Emmaus Road can turn into a white hero. So there's a lot. Also, knowing that I have Emmaus Road, I probably don't want to grab a territory class just yet. So my first would probably be Child is Born, as I can get a lot of value by taking Gabriel, and then I know I can go into Angel Appears next turn. So that's my nativity card. And then Good Seed. I really want to make sure if I do use good seed that I can take Talitha Come, because if I use it, I want to bring in my people. So now I'll go ahead and use my Emmaus Road. And we're looking for a white hero. That's a star card. And it's really just a matter of the Magi or Mary. I like to get resources quickly. So now I do have one add to battle, so I feel pretty comfortable about not getting nuked. So you may negate and reserve an evil or neutral card in a territory. That is so good. And then you may take a star card from reserve. And honestly, like knowing what I already have in my hand with Child is Born and Lost Child Found, I could go into Angel Appears here, knowing I'm going to get initiative. And then you may convert this CBN. Um, so I'm going to have initiative, and I can play an Angel Appears, and then I can play a Gospel Angel from deck or reserve, and then hero may ban to that hero. And knowing that I can grab Guardians is really nice, because then I can ban to a Gospel hero as well. It kind of makes me want to take Guardians over Resurrection Revealer. That's tough. Because what I could do is I can ban in Guardians from Glory, and then ban in Citizen of Sychar, and then ban in Thankful Leper. Or I can negate neutrals. So I'm going to play Guardians from Glory, and I may ban to an Angel. And now I protect Lost Souls from evil cards, and I can ban to a Gospel hero or take a good Gospel card from reserve. Now I will reserve the bottom card of your deck, which means I get to draw one, and then I get to ban to a different Samaritan, and I get to look at the top X. 4, 8, let's assume it's 11. And I get to take a card. I'm going to be honest, I probably wouldn't have done that. I think I just did it because I did it. I would have looked at your top 11, and I would have reserved and then drawn is what I would have done. Now I give up initiative, but I have plenty in my hand. Depending on what you play, I would interrupt it unless it's CBN stuff, and then I would use good seed. Take the nativity. Whatever you played, I get to negate it. And then more than likely, I would have hand advantage, so I wouldn't be able to use Magi. I don't really even need to ban them in. But yeah, that should win and grab a bunch of resources. Protecting Lost Souls. Big ban, big numbers, negated what you played. So not bad. With an add to battle if I needed to. And now I feel good about my actual block. So now I can go the Thief. To Highway. There's a couple things I like with Highwayman. Like I can go to Kingdoms and start popping out stuff. And I like that I can underdeck a hero when you play a good Dom or a Dom. I also like getting out Jerusalem and getting more reserve access. So I'll play Jerusalem as an evil fort, and then I can ban to Plundies, prevent the next, ban to ambushing, draw 3, drew into Hopper, Lost Souls hit, and good to go. So yeah, if I had high places out, that would just be another draw. So I think you can inject speed into pretty much anything right now, whether you're playing Sabbath Breakers or like Wilderness on defense. Like that gets you speed. Thieves gives you speed. And then if you look outside of certain things, like of course you still have Denarius and 4 Drachma Coin. We're going to get into some pretty complex decks with restricting and protecting and add to battles with all sorts of different offenses. We're going to see Pot of Mana. We're going to see Holy Holies. We're going to see Holy Holies with Bethlehem. We're going to see Pot of Mana with Overtaken. Um, there's a lot of ideas I have. Thank goodness my project, after over 3 years, comes to an end on Tuesday. It's been amazing, but it has been such a grind that I'm not going to be on any sort of work projects for the next few weeks, which means I am literally off. I still get paid, I'm salaried, but I am off through January. So I'll be working on some computer language stuff and a certification, but y'all best believe I'm going to be making videos. So more than likely I would use 3 woes here. I would want to keep Nebi's Pride. I don't want to use that on all my stuff. Oh, I got a +1 to the party. Yay. So yeah, if I had high places out right now, so first I'll look at a hand and I'll reserve the top card of your deck. And since I reserved the top card of your deck, I got to draw 1 off sidecar. Know your triggers, people. Know your triggers. And then Prosperity came into play. So Prosperity's ability would trigger. So I could discard a card to draw 2. I honestly, if I'm not seeing anything for Rubble and Dust, I could discard Rubble and Dust to draw 2. I know it's crazy. And then the looming Lost Souls, because that is an ongoing May, I then create 2 more. If I had high places out, that would have been a draw 2, a draw 1, a draw 1, a draw 1. That's very good. So, upkeep. We now have stable and good seed. Remember, look at your hand first, and woes, and Jerusalem. Look at your hand before you do your reserve so you know what the heck you're getting. I have 13 cards in my hand, so I can't do one of my 2. So my first one, I'm going to do good seed because I for sure want an enhancement. And then I know with Bethlehem Stable, I can get a nativity card, but I really want Resurrection Revealer to negate your neutrals. So I don't think I need Magnificate because Mary can get it. So I think I take Teaching in Parables with good seed. Oh, never mind. I had 13 in hand. So yeah, I can take all 3. And then Bethlehem Stable, I can take a nativity card. And then Jerusalem can reserve, move a random 1 to the top of my reserve for Jerusalem. And I can take Res Revealer. And then I can change the negate on 3 woes. I can change the target. I have 16 cards in hand. I do want to put down Res Revealer. I do want to put down Sheol. I can activate New Covenant. And you need to know, like, I have Lost Sheep in my reserve. And that's it. So I would go to deck. Take flight into Egypt. And I can activate the Manger. I can negate an evil or neutral card in play or set aside area. Hey, no such thing, right? And then if your Nativity Hero is blocked, I get to draw 1. And then I can play a territory class card. I don't need to play Emmaus Road, so I can negate a card which gets around Nazi. Reserve an evil card from your hand, which lets me draw 1. And now I may attack Which brings me to my final point on the video. You saw how long that took. This video has been 30 minutes. And yes, I was blabbering. I was showing you the deck. My point is, look at everything I can do. And this was in 4 gold heroes and some nativity heroes. And I was able to, and I can have more speed. I was able to almost deck out. I have all this out. I have 4 upkeeps, so every time I do something, it pauses that 90 seconds before I have to attack. I get 30 seconds a card. I would have to pick my target on 3 woes really quick. Then I would have to go straight into New Covenant, which once again stops that 90-second counter before I have to attack. And then it would be progress to the battle phase. I say all this because know your deck, know what you're grabbing. I had to miss, it was my own fault. I had to miss a battle phase at Nationals. I also ruined an attack. I think I put too much pressure on myself to do too much in one turn, and I overthought an attack. I did not play Son of God Second Coming. I played Second Coming incorrectly. I did get blocked. I lost the game in time, 6-5, and I wasted 2 of my dominance, and I lost a battle phase, and I lost 6-5. That would have changed everything. Like, that was against Jeremy, so who knows what would have happened after that. So yeah, I had to miss the battle phase because I was doing too much and went over the 90 seconds. So I say that because people say how complex GOC is and that games are taking too long. And then I personally think people aren't putting in the full time to really know their deck, know these cards, know what they do. And when I'm searching for something, I'm doing it quickly. Just because you have 30 seconds doesn't mean you should use it. Because the last thing I want to hear is that your turn took 12 minutes and then you're complaining because we call time with 10 minutes left at Nationals. Well, your turn takes 12 minutes. What am I supposed to do? And now all of a sudden people are getting 3 or 4 turns at Nationals. And if your opponent is playing slow, say, hey, like, please pick it up, and then call over a judge that next time. So just know if you're playing slow, find out why. Do you not know your deck? Is it the cards? Is it just too much going on? Simplify things. Try something else that's not so crazy. You can still win without your deck being crazy. So that was kind of the big point. Is even though it looked like a small deck, or I'm sorry, like a not a fast deck. It had. I mean, there's no 4 Drachma coin. There's no Daenerys. There's not any. There's no draw heroes. You know, it's just kind of out there. And sure, there's thieves, but it was still extremely fast. I'm constantly searching. I'm constantly grabbing resources. So I do have a lot of Nazareth counters. I have a Pot of Mana, Holy Holies, Glory of the Lord counter. I have a lot in there that I can go against top decks right now. And this didn't look anything special. So I know I said that was the last topic. I also think that people are putting so much pressure on themselves to win the entirety of the year. Jay won like every single game last year. He did bat poorly at Nats. It wasn't up to snuff. Jay's a very good player. We just saw that this past weekend. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to win every single game that you throw away a deck because it didn't win. Chad's one of the best examples of just staying with the deck and perfecting it. We used to see players that would play their deck all year and have great success with it. Zach Gilbaugh, he plays a lot of the similar deck for a long time. Derek Torado plays a lot of the similar deck over time. A lot of success with those players in their careers. So know what you're playing, execute it correctly, and always progress the game state forward. In discard phase, when you have 11 cards, you only get so much time, or else I get to randomly discard cards from your hand. We don't enforce that because that sucks to enforce, but just know that can happen. It's a game rule. So have fun with decks. I know this was GOC. I got another video that I'm going to go into right after this. I was going to do it as a 1-2, because check this out. Oh no, the other one. Boom, baby. Boom, boom. So that's going to be the next video. I'm going to get some water so I don't have a froggy throat. And we're going to go into Patriarchs and Philistines toss like I promised and have some fun with it. So I'm going to let this video go out. And then I'm going to record the next one. And I'll probably schedule that to come out tomorrow. But you're looking at, if you made it this far, you're looking at what I'm going to release tomorrow. So a lot of good pointers. Yeah, listen to it. I don't know. I always ramble at the very end. So appreciate you all listening. The views have been going up. I don't know if that's just more players playing the game or what. So I need to check the QR code stats. But there's a lot of good stuff happening in Redemption. I'll talk more about Roots in part 2 of my Roots video. So I'm excited to release that one too. It's a 3-part series. And then we will go back into other really cool videos I've been wanting to do, waiting on Roots. So appreciate y'all. I will talk to you shortly, but you won't hear until tomorrow.